Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live 10 at 10.
You just don't think that stuff is going to happen around you until it does, and then you're like, oh, okay, they're right there.
It's a shock to area parents. A homeless sex offender is living in his car outside a popular Fargo store.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us tonight. A 45-year-old man who forced a girl younger than 15 to have sexual contact with him is now living in Fargo and says he's homeless.
Jason Kelder has been sleeping inside his car parked at Kmart in Fargo off University Drive. He's been assessed as a moderate risk offender, meaning he's not a significant threat to everyone in the community, but he's a bigger threat than some. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Nicole Johnson has more.
It's an unusual place to call home. Most shoppers we talked to didn't realize a sex offender, Jason Kelder, spends a lot of time here.
We just go in the store and come out of the store, so if he's in the car, as long as he's not approaching us, I guess I'm not as concerned about it, but I guess it's more of a shock kind of thing.
Tina Schneider shops at Kmart often with her 6- and 9-year-old daughters.
Keep your girls close and just go on your way, and you can't let that run your life. You can't make those kind of things make the choice for you.
A manager at Kmart says they couldn't comment on if they knew he'd been living there. And we haven't heard back from corporate Kmart either.
I can see where Kmart maybe didn't even know there was somebody there.
This man, who didn't want to go on camera, says he's seen Kelder living in the parking lot since April or May.
The car was piled up to the windows with personal belongings. There was like a curtain or a sheet kind of over the windows. There was some stuff underneath the car like a pot or a pan.
He's seen him in a black SUV, but believes he might be driving a blue older car.
Obviously, he slipped through the cracks. Why weren't they looking for him? You know, there is a lot of kids in the area.
This man had no idea Kelder was a sex offender until police sent out a warning on Nextdoor.
Why did it take this long if he'd been in that parking lot for 3-4 months? Why did it take that long to find this out?
Under North Dakota state law, a homeless sex offender is required to tell police where they're living every 3 days. If they fail to do that, they could face a felony charge.
And so I'll just continue shopping here. I'm okay with him doing his own thing somewhere else and me doing my own thing here.
In Fargo, Nicole Johnson, Valley News Live.
According to the North Dakota sex offender website, Kelder may also use a downtown Fargo parking lot on 5th Street. That's near the Radisson Hotel and U.S. Bank. If you see something out of the ordinary, Fargo police say you should always report suspicious behavior.
According to police, it's not a crime wave, but just a constant stream of calls in Moorhead. They say they're seeing an increased call volume, and it's impacting an already shorthanded police department. Officials say that they have 58 sworn officers, but due to recent staffing issues, the department has only 4 officers on the street per shift. In addition to more calls, they're seeing calls that take longer to respond to, like suicidal issues.
They're the type of call that takes more time, and you become much more involved, and you can't clear those kinds of calls to go take something else. So that's another type of example where we want to do the most important thing, and that is address that type of call the best we can.
Request for more Moorhead police officers has been made. That decision is up to City Hall. Once they are hired, it takes about a year of training before they can hit the streets.
Is Fargo Public Schools looking to expand its English language learner program? Right now, the district says it's a challenge to educate the 787 students in the program, a main reason being they don't have enough money or resources. Superintendent Jeff Schatz adds to have the program where they can adequately educate ELL students, they need to hire up to 10 more elementary teachers. We're told they plan to ask the state for additional funding, but the district isn't sure they're going to get anything. We asked, too, is teaching the ELL kids taking away from other students' learning?
And so in the elementaries, it is quite a challenge sometimes for the teacher in the classroom. And so we try to do the best we can to provide supports, but that's where we need more resources because we don't have enough resources to completely have that covered. So the answer to the question would be is yes, it's a challenge.
We have put links to additional coverage of resettlement here in the Valley. Just click on this story at valleynewslive.com.
The Fargo Moorhead real estate giant is closing its doors next month. Coldwell Banker's Fargo office has served the community for more than 30 years and is now closing mid-October. Local realtors are willing to help any displaced agents, and for homeowners still looking to sell their homes, there are other options. One broker told us today some homeowners are even looking to sites like Zillow, posting their homes online and selling them on their own.
According to the Fargo Police Department, almost 7,000 people are using the Nextdoor app. Nextdoor was introduced in our area a little over a year ago, and people have since signed up and began engaging in conversations with their neighbors and Fargo police about community issues, crime, and safety. Members are also allowed to post events such as garage sales or even babysitting. The app is believed to build stronger neighborhoods and is available free for download on both Androids and Apple products.
Another 21 protesters were arrested at 2 construction sites along the Dakota Access Pipeline today. In one instance, a protester on horseback charged an officer. Officials say it was viewed as an act of aggression and an imminent threat to the officer. So the officer responded by raising his weapon containing less lethal ammunition. Those who protested south and west of St. Anthony, North Dakota were arrested for resisting arrest, criminal trespass on private property, and possession of stolen property. So far, 95 people have been arrested for protesting the pipeline.
3 people are recovering following a school shooting near Greenville, South Carolina today. The shooter was arrested. Authorities are also investigating a death just a few miles from the school that's believed to be connected. Mark Barger has the story.
It happened just after lunch. Reports of shots fired at Townville Elementary School near Greenville, South Carolina. Authorities say 3 people at the school were hurt.
1 patient flown to ANMED. The other patients were taken to ANMED Health.
The coroner said the injuries were not life-threatening. One of the students and the teacher have been released. Authorities say there was one shooter, a teenager, and they have that gunman in custody thanks to an off-duty first responder.
Jamie Brock, one of the Townville firefighters, was actually one of the first responders to get on scene, and he engaged the suspect and at that point took him down, and then law enforcement was quickly behind him.
About 2 miles away, authorities are at another scene, a man dead from a gunshot wound. They believe the 2 incidents are connected.
There is a relationship between the victim and the shooter. This appears to be the victim's son.
Meanwhile, nervous parents rush to the school. One mother relieved to learn her daughter is okay, but she's still worried about other children.
I just pray for their families. I pray for those kids.
Students were taken to a nearby church where they were picked up by some worried but relieved families while investigators try to piece together exactly what happened and why.
That was Mark Barger reporting. Meanwhile, vigils were held across the country tonight to honor the victims. There were 4 house fires in Moorhead this evening. We know that they were all started on purpose.
The Moorhead Fire Department, along with Minnesota State Community and Technical College, battled the flames. Valley News Team's Giovanna Simic tells us how important this training is.
I've always been the pyro in the family, come to bonfires, and I'm always the one in charge, so it should be a good time, though. We're going to take down a few houses here.
Firefighting has always sparked Jared Norton's interest.
I have an uncle back home who's on the fire department. He's actually the chief for our volunteer back home, and it's always been in my family, and I just decided, hey, see if it's something I want to do, and I've loved it since I've been in it.
Norton, along with other M-State students and Moorhead firefighters, got a chance to battle a real house fire.
It's very difficult to simulate in a classroom or in a laboratory setting, so this is ideally what our investigators need.
From hose handling to defensive fire techniques, this test gives soon-to-be firefighters proper training.
For fire investigators, it's very difficult to simulate real-life conditions that you would find in an actual home or an actual business. So when these opportunities come up, they're absolutely invaluable.
Although there are people living in homes close by, Moorhead Fire Department says they took proper precautions so no one gets hurt.
We have to have a pretty good distance that we can have from one house that's burning to provide protections.
An experience Norton says he is glad to have.
I'm super excited. You know, hopefully we can apply and learn from the best.
In Moorhead, Giovanna Simic, Valley News Live.
Moorhead firefighters say they do these types of exercises every 4 or 5 years. The 4 homes were previously scheduled for demolition as part of the Clay County Courthouse campus expansion project.